All right. Hello and welcome, everyone. So you can see me for once, and we need to discuss very importantly today that DE is nerfing the Xoris. They're going to be nerfing it with the Steel Path update that is coming hopefully soon. And we need to discuss how they have explained why they're nerfing it, for what reasons, because there's a lot of misinformation here, and there's a lot of not fixing actual issues that have existed for a long time. So, we are going to go over this post, which I have linked below, either in the top comments, the pinned one or whatever, or in the description, maybe both. Let's go over this real quick. Within the Deadlock Protocol quest brought the Xoris, glaive weapon capable of chaining melee combo infinitely. The design intention behind the infinite combo mechanic was predominantly added for the Granum Void's charge throw moments to allow you to retain your charges until you were ready. This mechanic opened up new avenues for melee builds to maximize this infinite melee combo duration, which is great. That's true. It is great. It was really nice. I loved it a lot. However, the overwhelming damage output, that's not true. Didn't do that at all, of certain Warframe abilities was not our intention with an infinite melee combo weapon. Okay, the infinite melee combo weapon, the damage output of certain Warframe abilities, overwhelming, not intention with an infinite melee combo weapon. Yeah, I could see how that wouldn't be your intention. Those two things aren't linked at all. I could see how that might happen, why you wouldn't intend that, because those two things have nothing to do with each other, honestly. Let's continue. The conversation of the Xoris, or you're doing it wrong, is greatly restrictive in terms of player choice. This is not true for a number of factors outside of the factor of convenience. And it's greatly restrictive in terms of player choice. Okay? This was our oversight, our mistake, and we apologize for the time it took to formulate a plan and address this. So let's break down our plans. Our plan is to not nerf the base powers of the Warframes involved, or the mods that amplify the issue. The mods that amplify the issue? I mean the good mods? The mods that are good? Blood Rush, Weeping Wounds, and the Gladiator mod set. As doing so isn't fair, as it's a reaction to a single weapon. I don't understand why this reaction is to this single weapon, but we'll continue. In turn, we have planned to only change the interactions with the Xoris directly. The first issue, the Xoris' infinite melee combo duration directly amplifies the damage output of certain Warframe This is untrue. This is just directly false. That won't reset/decay unless you detonate the Xoris manually using a heavy attack, or if you die, thus scaling the Warframe abilities that are amplified by your melee combo multiplier, Ashblade Storm, Atlas Landslide, Core Whipclaw, etc. And even more so when equipped with Blood Rush or Weeping Wounds. Okay, the melee combo duration directly amplifies the damage output of certain Warframe abilities. This is false. How long the melee combo lasts doesn't have a bearing on getting more damage. The second issue, the interaction with the Xoris and the Gladiator mod set for Warframe Exalted weapons. The Gladiator mod set bonus is being carried over from the equipped melee to the Exalted Warframe weapons, such as Peruk's Serene Storm, Excalibur's Exalted Blade, and Valkyr's Talons and Wukong's Iron Staff. Okay. This has been the case for a long time now. You would use the Venka and put on a build that gave you over 30 seconds of combo duration, and then you put all the Gladiator mods on that as well. And you would use the Venka to build up to a 14x combo, and you would either drop out of your Exalted melee every 30 seconds or so to hit a guy once to continue your combo, or you would use Naramon to get this exact effect. All the Xoris did was make it so you no longer have to very annoyingly drop out of your Exalted weapon to poke a guy once with your Venka or what have you. That's all it did. That's all the Xoris was doing, was a nice quality of life upgrade for this interaction. Because, for whatever reason, Peruk's Serene Storm, Excalibur's Exalted Blade, Valkyr's Talons, and Wukong's Iron Staff were not balanced and given the ability to use the regular, good quality melee mods that we've had for a long time with the advent of the melee rework. They weren't given Blood Rush or Weeping Wounds, etc. They got none of the Shadow Debt mods. For whatever reason, as an oversight on DE's part, or because they just didn't want to. So, people are using the Gladiator mod set to get a smidgen of that Blood Rush effect that we so desire, so that these Exalted weapons can keep up with regular melee weapons. I don't know how the Xoris is really making this a problem other than making it convenient and kind of nice. The solution. The change coming with the Steel Path update is to have the affected Warframe Exalted abilities and Exalted weapons reset the melee combo counter only if the Xoris is being used. Okay, so what this means basically is that if you cast any of these abilities, or like Cora's one, Atlas's one, or Ash's ability, your combo will be reset on your Xoris. What does this do? This means that the Xoris goes from being a really nice, convenient stat stick to not a stat stick at all and absolute garbage. So all the forma that's been invested and all like the builds that people are putting together to have this nice, convenient thing that is not even actually the best choice is now ruined. All of that is gone. For all 7 of these abilities, there have been better options than the Xoris. The Xoris is just convenient. And because of its convenience, it became very popular. And if its popularity is an issue, I would like to know why. Because they released a thing and gave it to everyone as a reward for an easy-to-do quest, and are surprised that people are using it with its cool new effect and hype that everyone has. However, special note here, Gara's Shattered Lash will now scale with the melee combo counter with this change to be consistent with Cora's Whip Claw and Atlas's Landslide. The same Xoris restriction will still apply. So, they're changing Gara's Lash to the way that, Cora's one and Atlas's one work, which is how it was supposed to be all along, to my knowledge. But that's a fix that's coming with this patch, and that's good, because Gara will get a small benefit from that. Not that Gara really needed to be any better, but it's nice that that's being fixed to be consistent. I appreciate that. Okay, here's the thing. The Xoris will no longer work with any of these abilities. However, these builds for these abilities have been around for months. They have been available for months, and much stronger builds have been available for months. For Rivens. And it's interesting that this overpowered nonsense Xoris build would suddenly be getting fixed when all it is a quality of life weapon that allows you to get a build similar to one you would get out of using a Riven. But Rivens aren't being changed to not work with these weapons that need a stat stick. So, I've taken the time to jump in here, and we're going to show the difference between the Xoris and a Rivened melee weapon, and not even a particularly good one. So let's go. This is the Xoris with the regular build that I've been showing off time and time again, right? Very simple stuff. Now, what we have here are 20 Exogok officers. They are level 175, and accumulatively, they have about 200 million EHP between them, with 9.2 million and then some change each. So they're tough. They're real tough. So let's show what we can do with the Xoris. Spawn these guys in. Throw her 2. Soup them up. You can see I'm building that sweet, sweet combo. And as I build that sweet, sweet combo, I get the better crits, and my damage goes up, and we can clear this group of enemies. Down below me, you will see that I'm at 11x combo. I'm almost at that sweet, sweet 12x. Let's show what this looks like once I'm built up. Because that's really the thing with the Xoris, is you build up and then you don't have to do it again. And that's nice. It's nice and convenient that you don't have to build up and do it again. So whenever you're built up, you can clear these dudes real fast, right? And that's like the thing. Particularly with Cora, because her entire image as a Warframe is built entirely around the whip, because she has the whip and 2 supporting abilities, and then a cat that's also there. She has a 2 that synergizes with her 1, and a 4 that synergizes with her 1, and they provide great synergy. So the 1 is the point of her kit. Her 1 needs to be good, and it needs to be able to clear this type of content in order to be good. Because it's the point of the Warframe. So let's take that into account, with this definitely needing to be a good ability. And now let's grab an unranked, unformed comma. And let's see what I've put on this. Obviously, let's assume this is just unformed, because I'm MR29, so I have a ton of points to go around. With this is the build. Now, I have this here, which I just made today. We unveiled this and rolled it a bunch with some Kuva I had around. This has 265% critical chance, a bunch of attack speed that I don't need, and 127% toxin and minus finisher damage, which is irrelevant. So what this does is it combines essentially two mods that you would normally use on this build. Sacrificial Steel, and it's actually better than Sacrificial Steel without being combined with Sacrificial Pressure. And then also Primed Fever Strike. This one Riven mod is replacing these two primed mods, which, you know, maybe is an issue on its own, but that's what it's doing. It's replacing those two, and for that means that we have an extra mod slot that we can equip Drifting Contact in. So we have a 15-second combo duration. And Korra's 1 builds combo, so we're going to keep our combo going via doing regular Korra things. That's how this has worked for a long, long time. This build, functionally, is pretty much exactly the same as the Xoris build, except I needed a riven for it, and the Xoris build is more convenient, because with a 15-second combo duration, that means if I need to, I can't just, like, you know, get up and go to the bathroom or whatever, or go get a sandwich, or do whatever, like convenient things like, hey guys, protect me for a second, I got something to do in my life. That's what the Xoris was really adding. So let's show this. Obviously, this is not going to be as good as the overwhelming power, the power that we get from the Xoris. So, how could it ever compete? How could it even conceivably compete with the Xoris? How could such a thing even be possible? How could it even be similar? How could it be available for months and no one was using it? Is it that it's annoying to pay attention to the little timer? Is that really all that it takes? Is it really just that it's annoying to have to think about that timer? Yeah. Yeah, it really is that. That's what the Xoris has been providing. There's no additional power. There's no nothing. It's just that we didn't need a riven anymore to do this cool build that you don't even actually need Weeping Wounds for. Weeping Wounds is really just a fun bonus that you get to add in. And this is the same. Just, you'll have to rebuild up the combo every once in a while. It's the same thing. It just requires a riven. And I've been using a very similar build to this that just doesn't use Weeping Wounds and uses Drifting Contact in that place and uses the other two mods I've described on my Fragor Prime for a long, long time before I had this riven to use here or any of that stuff. Also, on top of that, if you were to roll this even more mind-numbingly, because rivens are a thing in this game, you could, instead of getting 80% attack speed, you could get a critical damage bonus. And with this riven in particular, you can actually roll it so that it's like cold damage, critical damage, and melee damage, and you could replace these three mods, put in Primed Fever Strike, Sacrificial Steel, and then still have a bonus mod slot where you could just add in heat. Because why not add an incredibly powerful single elemental to this as well? A full 90% other elemental. Why not do that? Just throw in Organ Shatter, get even more critical damage. And then, wait, this build would be objectively better than the Xoris in terms of damage. The reason that the Xoris seems to be getting nerfed. You can see why that might be problematic. Because it's not actually changing anything other than making the Xoris useless. The Xoris is going to be useless and inconvenient, and it's going to only be there in the quest and be a useless reward, and it was a cool thing that we had access to, and it was another way for us to do a build that was previously Riven exclusive, which is gross. And that's just awful, because it's disingenuous here to just like go out and say that this is what the Xoris has been up to whenever that's not true. I've seen this take from a lot of players saying the Xoris is OP, but that's never been the case. It's really good because it's convenient. It's convenient, and it makes it less of a hassle and more fun to do some builds that we already had access to and had better versions of these builds as well. And just to show for other Warframes what you would do if you were interested in using one of the Exalted Warframes, the previous thing that you would do for a long time is just have a Venka. You'd use the Venka, and you'd equip this build, the 3 Gladiator mods, Body Count, Drifting Contact, Primed Reach, or Primed Fury to taste, Relentless Combination, or Primed Fury or Primed Reach if you want to taste, and then Quickening. You put all this in, and this makes it so you can build up your combo super, super fast, like near instantly, against enemies that can survive this, which is, they're pretty plentiful actually, because there's no damage mods in here. You would build up, and then you would have that combo for 33 seconds, and you'd be in your 4 for 30 seconds, and you jump out of it, and you just hit an enemy once with the Venka to reset it, and you'd be having the exact same effect as the Xoris for these abilities, except with the annoying little pinprick that every once in a while you have to bump out of your 4 and stab a guy for a quick second with the Venka. Unless, of course, you use Naramon instead of Zeneric, and then you can use the Naramon passive to do like the exact same thing. And it would take ages and ages and ages for your combo to wear off. You could just sit in your 4 the same way you do now with the Xoris. The Xoris isn't doing any new, big, powerful stuff. The stuff enumerated here is literally untrue, and it doesn't take into account that these builds have existed and just been less convenient. And it's just that it just shows me that DE is coming at this and nerfing this from completely the wrong angle. And if they are planning on changing this, they need to also make Rivens not work, because 4 months, since it's been a thing, myself and many other people that really don't appreciate Rivens have been complaining that they work with Warframe abilities for a long time, because they shouldn't. Rivens were never intended to influence the power of Warframes. And now we're getting something that is, as we can see here, being nerfed because it is affecting the power of Warframes, and the thing that affects it way more isn't? Why? For what purpose? There's a really dark way to look at this. There's the really dark way to look at this, which I'm choosing to believe that this is just a knee-jerk reaction on DE's part because they saw the usage of the Xoris go up, and it's like, whoa, why are people using this? And myself and other YouTubers and such have posted videos with the Xoris and all this business, like, hey, this is great. This is like a nice, convenient thing that you're all going to have access to. And all that stuff has come out, and it's caused DE to go, whoa, it must be so crazy. I'm choosing to believe that that is what's happening here, and it's just misguided and lacking in information, which I can understand. We've all had that happen to us before. But the optics on this can also be absolutely terrible. And the terrible optics on this are that some of those most powerful Rivens, because keep in mind, I was using a comma Riven, which I happened to randomly get. The actual best Rivens for this are the Amphis, the Mire, and the Jaw Sword. Those are the ones that are really, really good. And the perfectly rolled Rivens for these go for thousands of platinum. So, if they were to look at it and be like, the Xoris is encroaching on the Riven market for these Warframes, we can't have that. That's a ton of platinum being spent on these things. People see other people use these Riven builds, and then they spend $300 on platinum to get this Riven from someone else who's been rolling it. They've spent the money on this slot machine someone's been spinning. That's really bad optics. Because Rivens are the loot box of Warframe. They're the slot machine. The only difference is that the person pulling the slot machine doesn't get the payout until they sell the slot machine that says 777 on it. But it's not actually any different. It's just obfuscated RNG loot box nonsense. And it's been that for a long time. So yeah, that's my rant about this change, because it's misguided and awful. Also, hello, you guys don't usually get to see me. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope your perspective on this has been changed and or fixed. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Hopefully, this causes something to happen. And hopefully, it's not what is just said here.